Jaron Ennis has joined Canelo Alvarez's training camp to help him prepare for his upcoming clash with Terence Crawford. However, Brian Norman Sr. believes sparring with Boots won't truly prepare Canelo for Crawford because their styles are very different. The only real similarity, he said, is that both switch stances naturally, but beyond that, they fight in completely different ways. Norman admitted he never understood the comparison but still believes working with Ennis is valuable, since all quality sparring sharpens skills.
Better chance, I think it's good work. Crawford, I don't think Crawford fight, not Crawford. I don't think Boots fight like Crawford at all. That was just, I think the comparisons they was making initially was just as they both were switch hitters and they both could be so naturally. That's really the only thing that they do the same. They don't do anything else the same, literally. So I never understood the comparison in that myself. But I think it's still a good look because all work is good work and you want.
Meanwhile, Breadman Edwards said bringing in Boots was a smart move because he does share similarities with Crawford, even if they're not identical. Both can switch stances, fight as boxer-punchers, and carry a killer mentality, making the work highly valuable. Edwards recalled first hiring Boots back in 2014 to spar Julian Williams and watching his growth firsthand in Philadelphia gyms. He added this choice shows Canelo is taking Crawford seriously. Still, while others may change their pick after seeing this, Edwards continues to back Crawford to win.
Prepare for Crawford, I will use Boots as a sparring partner. If I was getting prepared for Boots, I would use Crawford as a sparring partner. I think that they're not exactly the same. No two people are, but they're very, very similar in styles with the switching, boxer puncher, killer mentality. They got a lot of things similar. So I think it was a good move by Team Canelo. And I got a kid that I trained that box Boots, Crawford, and Canelo. So, and obviously being from Philly, I done seen Boots in the gym for the last 11 years. Literally, the first time I ever hired him was in 2014 to spar Julian Williams. So I've been around him a long time. And I think it was a good move, you know. I'm still rocking with Crawford, but I know some people that was like, man, I'm changing my pick now because that's like the best spar you could get. And they showed them that Canelo is taking this fight super serious. So I respect everybody's opinion, but I'm still rocking with Crawford. I still think he's going to put.
Andre Dirrell said Boots joining Canelo's camp feels like payback toward Crawford for not fighting him back in 2024, when Boots called him out. Crawford chose instead to chase the bigger opportunity against Canelo on September 13, 2025, a fight with greater legacy, a bigger name, a larger payday, and more status. Dirrell noted that it's too late now for Boots to get that fight, but he's excited to see how this camp will improve his toughness, skills, and ring IQ.
I do believe this is get back on Crawford for not taking a fight with Boots back in 2024 when Boots called him out. But Crawford was on the bigger and better things, baby. That bigger and better things being Canelo Alvarez, September 13, 2025. Bigger legacy, bigger name, bigger payday, bigger status. So, too little, too late, Boots. But I am looking forward to how you advance in your career after this because this camp is definitely going to level you up, man. You're going to get better because of it in every aspect. Toughness, skill set, smart.
He went on to say the experience will level Boots up in every area and prepare him for future challenges. Dirrell added that Crawford may well walk away into the sunset after this fight, especially if he wins, meaning Boots will need to chase other opportunities. He encouraged Boots to give Canelo tough work in camp because Canelo will need it, echoing Roy Jones Jr.'s words that Canelo must be at his best. Dirrell closed by saying he's eager to see where Boots' career goes after this.
A lot from this camp, champ, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do because you're already a bad man, dog. I want to see where you take it from here, but Crawford, it's over. I believe he's walking away in the sunset, especially if he walks away with the victory, which I'm hoping for. But you, champ, you got to settle for something else. You Canelo that work, man. He don't need it. He don't need it. According to Roy Jones, Canelo got to be on his A game. You got to be on yours too, man. We're looking forward to seeing what you do after this. It's raining on me right now, so I'm going to cut this short, baby. But Boots, Get somebody else, champ. Get somebody else.
Greg Hackett said Boots will gain a lot from working with an elite fighter like Canelo, who has faced every style imaginable. Canelo has fought southpaws, tall fighters, short fighters, slick movers, and brawlers, so sparring with him provides huge exposure. Hackett added that working with someone as confident and fully prepared as Canelo is invaluable for a fighter's growth.
I mean, Jaron Ennis get from it being in with the elite, a guy who's prepared for everything. One thing you can't say about Canelo is that he hasn't seen something. Canelo's seen southpaws, he's seen tall guys, short guys, slick fighters, he's seen bulls, he's been up against everything. So you get a world of experience with a guy like Canelo. You get a guy who's in full confidence with a guy like
AKO said he's glad Boots went to spar Canelo because it gives him top-level work he rarely gets, since he's usually the one dominating others. He explained that it's also a big benefit for Canelo, especially ahead of what he sees as a true 50-50 matchup against Crawford. AKO noted that although they fight in different divisions, their walk-around weights may not be far apart. He added that Crawford has more offensive tools, while Canelo's best chance lies in hurting him early, cutting off the ring, and making it a tough night.
That he did it because one, that gives him, I guess, top level sparring, because Boots always looking for sparring too. There's 10 guys up here, so I've never seen him travel anywhere to spar. I don't know if he has. Maybe he does. I don't know. But for him to do that, that's a big step for him. But beyond that, it's a better step for Canelo because, honestly, somebody asked me the other day, I think my fiance, somebody asked me, like, who you think will win fight? You don't really know boxing. So I was like, yo, this is actually one of the few fights that's 50-50 to me because they're both highly skilled, and then their walk-around weights, you really don't know how far off of each other they really are in regards to true size, because although Crawford fights at a lower weight, they may walk around at a similar weight, you never know. Frame-wise, they're not that far off. So, and then also Crawford has a lot more tools in the bag in regards to offense. Like, he got a lot of offensive skills. So I said, okay, well, if Crawford fights his fight, he can make it difficult for Canelo. And if Canelo can hurt Crawford early and corner him and cut the ring off real well, he can make it a difficult night for Crawford.
Teddy Atlas, however, said he could see Crawford winning because Canelo's recent performances suggest possible decline. He questioned whether Canelo has grown old in the sport, lost urgency after earning so much money, or simply lost his fire. Atlas also pointed out arguments that Canelo was overrated, recalling that many felt he lost the first Golovkin fight and was clearly beaten by Floyd Mayweather. While some excused that loss by saying Canelo was too young, Atlas reminded that he was already a seasoned pro by then.
See Crawford win it. And why? Well, Canelo's last performance, real quick, what could it be? I already went over this. You want to hear it in a deeper breakdown? Canelo, he's either old man time, that undefeated guy, he finally caught up to him. He's made so much money that the urgency's not there, the fire's not there. At least it wasn't there a week ago. Oh my God, I'm gonna say this one, maybe he's a little overrated. I listen, you know, you can make the argument that he lost the first Triple G, you know, but you can make the argument he lost to Lara. He did lose to Mayweather. You can make the argument he was too young in his career. Maybe. Although it wasn't that young. He turned pro when he was 15 or 16. He was 23. He was already pro for how many?
Amir Khan said he knows Crawford well and described him as mentally strong and extremely focused, calling him a killing machine once locked in. Khan explained that Crawford has a switch that makes him fearless and relentless, unlike fighters who take a more cautious approach. He recalled watching Crawford spar and even wrestle heavier opponents, taking them down despite size disadvantages. Khan added that while many focus on Canelo's strength, Crawford's core power and toughness are underestimated, and people will be surprised by how strong he really is.
Where, the guy is so mentally strong. And when he sticks to one thing and he's focused, he's a killing machine. Honestly, like, I've been there with him, you know what I mean? And I've seen him when he triggers, you don't want to switch stuff. You don't want to have that switch because the guy is an animal and he has no fear. With us, we were nice guys, you know what I mean? We were a little bit more nicer than him. When I was a fighter myself, he's total opposite to me. He's a proper killer, bro. Like, he don't give a damn. He's one of them like just let's go to war.
Saw him spar bigger guys as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, you had sparring heavier guys, but I've seen him wrestling more heavier guys, really. And boxing, yeah, but wrestling heavier guys and taking them down. Now, bro, making them scream. Honestly, we were doing that. Now, that's why when people said to me, Canelo's stronger, but I don't know if Canelo, yeah, stronger at punching maybe, but at that body weight, that strength, that core strength, Crawford's a beast. People are gonna see. People not gonna expect.
Antonio Tarver said both Canelo and Crawford have the greatness to win, making it impossible to confidently pick one. He highlighted Canelo's power, strength, and durability, noting he's rarely been hurt in his career. Canelo, he said, has learned how to either absorb or avoid punches with intelligence. On the other hand, Tarver praised Crawford as one of the most gifted fighters, someone who reached the top through hard work, discipline, and leadership, inspiring a generation of champions.
Gonna win the fight. Let's say that. Both of these guys' greatness can win this fight. You feel me? Both of these guys' greatness can win this fight. You would be crazy to think Canelo can't win this fight with his power, strength. And this man ain't never been hurt, really never been in trouble before. But that one time,
shout out to Cotto, Puerto Rico.
Yeah, that one time, yeah, the Cotto, yeah.
The younger brother, the other brother. Yeah.
That's the only time we seen Canelo shoot up. So he learned how to either take a punch or not get hit with that punch. Smart. You feel me? Tank, man, one of the most.
What do you mean, Bud?
Bud. I'm sorry, Bud. One of the most gifted fighters out there, bro. And he got it the hard way. You feel me? The hard way. Through work, commitment, and dedication, and being a leader. He's really led a lot of these young champions. You feel me? So Crawford has stood out from the beginning.
Richard Torres said that although he's a big Canelo fan, he leans toward Crawford because of his personal admiration for his skills. Torres praised Crawford's defense, adaptability, and versatility as a switch hitter with multiple tools. While Canelo carries fight-ending power, especially at higher weights where he's more settled, Torres believes Crawford has the pound-for-pound talent to rise to the challenge over the long haul, making this a thrilling fight.
I'm a Canelo fan through and through. He's one of my favorite fighters. But I know Terence Crawford personally, and I'm a little biased for Crawford, so I am leaning towards Crawford. Crawford has some of the best defense I've ever seen, and I think he styles his defense to the fighter too. You know, like what he did with Spence and some of these other guys. It's impressive.
Switch hitting.
You know, the switch hitting, being able to do so many different. He has so many different assets and abilities that I'm leaning towards Crawford, but I'm leaning towards Crawford in the long game. I don't necessarily. I think Canelo will always have that one-shot killer shot, you know, and so he has to watch out for it, especially at a bigger weight. Where Canelo, he's filled in that weight, you know, he was able to really move up and take on and personify that weight. I think that Crawford has to be able to do that himself, but if anyone can do it, Crawford can do it. You know, Crawford's one of the pound-for-pound guys, and I'm just excited to see that fight from, you know.
David Hayes said if anyone can do the impossible and beat Canelo, it's Crawford. He admitted he never thought he'd see them in the same ring. Given Canelo's history as a former light heavyweight and undisputed super middleweight champion, Hay once believed his size would always overwhelm smaller fighters. But after seeing them together, he realized their sizes are closer than expected, making this a true pound-for-pound contest.
Can do the impossible, and that's beating Canelo. I've been a fan of his for a long time, and likewise with Crawford. I never thought there was a version of reality where they'd both be in the ring with each other. I initially automatically assumed, because Canelo's obviously beaten, because he was the light heavyweight champion of the world, undisputed super middleweight champion of the world, he's just campaigned at a much bigger weight, so a good bigger can beat him with little, usually. Until I saw them standing next to each other, and they looked the same size. I couldn't quite figure it out. I was like, okay, if they're the same size, then it's literally pound for pound. Who's pound for pound better? And that's it, they're both pound for pound fighters a lot.
Hay explained that while he initially leaned toward Canelo, his opinion has shifted. Like Andre Ward, he believes Crawford wouldn't take such a dangerous challenge unless he truly knew he had the skills to win. Hay called this a rare meeting of two elite fighters and a dream fight fans have long wished for, something almost unimaginable a decade ago, but now reality in today's boxing landscape.
Canelo starting off, but over time, I'm starting to think once again Crawford is one of those guys where he reminds me of kind of Andre Ward a little bit, the mindset, and he wouldn't put himself in a position if he didn't know for sure he had enough firepower to deal with someone of Canelo's stature and Canelo's history. But it's the two best fighters on the planet mixing it up. It's like one of those dream fights, the proper trades fight. You know, that anyone who's interested in boxing want to see two living legends going at it. Yeah, I can't believe it's actually happening. Does that make sense? Because they're so big in their own right. The fact that fight would never have happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It just wouldn't have happened. And now anything's possible in boxing. Anything's possible.
Andre Ward said he's thrilled to be ringside at Allegiant Stadium for what he called a historic night. He praised both men for risking their legacies, reputations, and super middleweight standing at this stage, stressing how uncommon it is for top fighters today to take such dangerous fights instead of safer ones.
Excited to be a part of this event. I'm excited to be ringside, calling this great card and this great matchup. Historic event for many reasons for both fighters. Super middleweight supremacy on the line, legacies on the line, your namesake and reputation is on the line, and I just take my hat off to both of these fighters for putting everything on the line late in their careers the way that they are. This is rare, and it's becoming more and more rare in boxing. Guys don't want this kind of smoke. They really don't want to face another counterpart that can ruin everything that they've built, and it really don't matter how much money's on the table for a lot of guys. They'd rather take a lesser risk for less money than to risk everything like these two fighters are doing.
Timothy Bradley Jr. predicted Canelo will try to control the center and move lightly on his feet early, as both fighters will want to test each other's power. He said the opening rounds will be about positioning, balance, and finding the right distance to land effectively while avoiding counters. Bradley noted that Canelo usually finds his rhythm quicker than Crawford.
Canelo will try to control the center of the ring. I think he might even box a little bit on his toes. Due to the fact because he wants to feel the punching power, and vice versa. Crawford wants to feel his punching power as well. In the beginning, it's all the position balance. Like both guys are trying to get balance and trying to find their rhythm. Understanding their distance to where they can punch and at the same time avoid getting hit. It takes Crawford a little bit more time than I would say Canelo.
Hamza Shiraz said he expects the fight to be competitive for the first 6 rounds, but believes Canelo will begin to take over and dominate as it progresses.
His fight with Terence to go in September. I expect the fight to be very competitive for the first 6 rounds, and then Canelo to take over.
Ronnie Shields called it an exciting matchup and said Crawford has a very real chance. He explained that Crawford's ability to switch stances, change movement, and counter effectively could trouble Canelo. If Crawford can make Canelo miss and immediately capitalize, Shields believes he can break Canelo's rhythm and force him into uncomfortable spots, the best way to test his dominance.
Great fight. I've been asked this question a lot the last couple months.
Yeah.
And I really and truly believe that Crawford has a great chance. Crawford is not going to fight him like School fought him. He's not going to fight him like Lara fought him. Crawford is going to be doing a little bit of ins and out, I believe. Turning left-handed and right-handed. And for me, I think he's going to give Canelo a problem because Canelo probably going to think he's going to be moving a lot. And I don't think so. I think Crawford is going to practice, rely on his counter-punching abilities and then start taking the lead and putting Canelo in positions he's never been in, in a long time. So, and I think that's the right way to fight Canelo. You can't worry about his power. You just got to worry about making him miss and then countering him and being effective. And Crawford has all of them.
That's it for today's video. What are your thoughts on Canelo versus Crawford? Who do you think takes this clash? Drop your predictions in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos.